her car and taking him in her car to where he was going. She is on the way to visit her sister and just asks to be dropped off there and offers him the car. So, like, on the way to going there, she gets them lost, and he stops for directions at a farmhouse, and he takes the keys with him so that she can't leave without him. It's pretty funny. This one he finds the dudes using the radiation pest rid equipment. That's the
ultrasonic radiation, which
that's it's going to be a big part in the storyline. So Edna gets out of the car and starts wandering around for whatever reason because she's bored, I guess. She gets attacked by Guthrie. He's all red-eyed and creepy.
Yeah, those contacts were awesome.
Yeah, really, really awesome contacts. I'm sure that they were probably the old-style fucking glass contacts, though. So
irritate the shit out of the actor.
I bet that they were just a nightmare. That was actually... another movie that I forgot that I watched. I watched that Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osborne, and in the featurette about the retrospective, Udo Kier said that they had to use those fucking glass contacts, and that they had to take me to hospital after the shit because my eyes were hurt so bad. And so cool contacts. She gets attacked by Guthrie. She escapes. George doesn't believe her because George is kind of a dick.
Yeah, if you notice, he's on his way to his new house, and he's probably not going to have people around him, even though he's got an attractive lady. He doesn't take any shit from her. His pan-pan's kind of strong. He's just completely annoyed by her. She did run over his nose.
She's a huge inconvenience to his day.
Yeah.
So,
you can tell he acts like that a lot.
So we arrive at Edna's sister Katie's house, and she and her husband Martin and Katie are not getting along. Katie's been secluded at this house in the middle of nowhere for like the last year because Martin's trying to wean her off of heroin.
Wiener.
Yeah, so basically she's in detox.
Yeah, he searches she says she wants to make a pie for her sister, and she's got these berries, and he like fishes through her berries looking for dope. Martin's a photographer. He goes to the stream to take some photos, and she stays behind and shoots up. Tries to shoot up. She starts cooking a batch, and Guthrie the zombie, he shows up. He breaks in. He attacks her. She flees to where she knows that Martin is taking his pictures. He's killed by Guthrie. They have their little fight, and he bashes Guthrie in the head with the rock to no effect, and the guy that plays the Guthrie zombie does a really, really great job.
Mm-hmm.
He's really creepy, and I don't know, I feel like he did a lot toward setting the stage for other zombie actors in the future.
Possibly, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that. I mean, obviously, Night of the Living Dead and the Last Man on Earth did a lot toward that too. But George and Edna arrive just as as Guthrie kills Martin, and they scare off the zombie Guthrie, which doesn't really make any sense to me, given what I know about the rest of the film. It seems like Guthrie should have just, killed them all, but...
Right.
The cops arrive, and we meet the cliche dickhead sergeant.
Oh, yeah, he's the worst.
Oh, God, do I hate him. He does a really good job at being hateable. He kind of reminds me of George C. Scott, sort of, a little bit.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
But, he accuses Katie of Martin's death, and George and Edna are told that they can't leave because they're part of the case now. And George has the idea to steal the film from Martin's camera to develop it themselves because he doesn't trust the cops. And, I can't really fucking blame the guy.
Oh, you skipped the part where the heroin addict lady, that was her husband, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, her husband just died, and the other girl just wants to make her tea and crumpets.
Right.
It's what you want to do after your husband dies.
They're British.
I don't care.
They always ridiculous. Want tea and cakes.
So stupid.
Oh,
and then when the detective's telling George that he can't leave.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he's like, I didn't do anything. It's daylight then.
Right.
And then the detective walks to the cop car area, and it was dark. And then he gets in the house, it's light again.
Oh, I guess I didn't notice it. No, I like when they leave, it's daylight, so I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah, there
notice.
was a scene right in the middle where it was dark again.
That's pretty funny. I suppose that. That's the daylight scene in between those would have been the real continuity error.
Yeah,
because, it should have been morning by the time they were leaving.
Oh, it was morning when they were discovering the body, and the cops were there, and then George was at the top of the hill, and he's trying to leave, and he said he didn't have anything to do with it, and the cop said, no, you're not, you're under investigation. Then the cop walks over and tells another cop something at nighttime, then goes in the house. But, like, why, I thought George and the girl left that night. Why did they come, where did they go? And then they came back.
They left Martin and Edna's?
Yeah.
I don't think they left.
They got in the car and they were driving.
Like,
And then that's when he pulled over. He's like, "Listen, blah blah. You took a huge part of my day away, or something."
that's what I think that you're thinking of when they stopped to get the directions before they went to the next morning when they stole the film. And
No, because that's when she got attacked by the zombie, and she goes across the little river.
yeah,
Then they get directions right from there. Then they get in the car and leave. But at night, when the zombie's attacking the flower photographer,
yeah,
they're back
they're back where?
to where she originally got attacked. We're just gonna have to watch it again.
They hadn't arrived at. It may have been the same stream where she got attacked by Guthrie, but they hadn't arrived at Martin and Edna's until right after the murder.
I think they messed
I'm pretty sure. Anyway, they go to a hotel, the Owl place or whatever, the Gray Owl. What is it?
It's like the Gray Owl.
Something Owl, where the name is like misspelled on the fucking door. Or
Yeah,
something.
it's spelled OLW on the door. Like it's supposed to say owl.
Oh, okay.
They have like a little gray owl on a swing in the walkway. They take Katie to the hospital and have her committed there, and that's where George sees the nurse get maimed by the infant.
Yep, gets blinded in one eye.
Yeah, she like scratches her face, and the doctor,
Hates it.
the doctor who's played by an actor named Vincente Vega. Thank you, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. He says all the newborns in Katie's area have been aggressive. George makes the connection in his head that it's this radiation machine or whatever, so the doctor wants to go see it. They go check it out. Then George and Edna go get the pictures developed. They confront them there, and that's when we get the famous Electric Wizard intro line. You're all the same, the lot of you. With your
Faggot clothes.
faggot clothes, sex, drugs, every sort of filth. That's pretty funny. That's a great line. From there, George decides to take Edna to the cemetery to prove to her that Guthrie is dead, and he figures that the only way to do that is to show her his body. They go to the cemetery, and one of the cops is instructed to follow them, and they make their way into the mausoleum, and they discover that Guthrie's coffin is in fact empty, and they find the dead groundskeeper, and then the vault is sealed from, Guthrie coming in, blocking their path.
Very vampire for a zombie to return to his coffin. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool, I guess.
And the way that he makes new zombies is very vampire.
Uh-huh.
It's a very different and unique form of zombie transference.
Yeah, this is also like the spot where you definitely get the like Italian style filmmaking where lots and lots of close shots of their eyes.
Yeah. The lighting is really soft, and it's a very, very creepy, effective scene. The other two actors that they use for zombies are creepy as fuck looking as well. Some old lady and some kind of typical little Italian looking man. Yeah, he makes the new zombies by taking the blood of his fresh victim and like dabbing their eyelids with it, and then they become zombies. So
Yeah, really cool how they do that.
they try to defend themselves against the zombies, and it's pretty much you know,
The zombies have super strength.
yeah,
for some
they
reason.
do. They are very strong. They can like lift up headstones and
Lift up an entire
throw
head.
people, and yeah, that's atypical of zombie films to follow. Usually they're very weak and just like totally.
These ones can bash
ineffectual.
in doors.
Yeah. Yeah, in future films, you have to get 10 zombies. I feel like I could myself
Take out 10 zombies.
take out 10 or 15
Just on pure
you know,
strength.
Yeah, with like maybe just my bare hands.
Yeah.
But these guys, I wouldn't even want one to deal with.
No.
So yeah, they escaped from the crypt through like a light, like a grave that's been dug, and like a light like that's broken through the wall of the crypt or whatever. But then they stupidly barricade themselves in the groundskeeper shack
Instead of
just
running-
fucking running to the cars
I wrote that right here.
and driving the fuck away.
Well, they look at one side, there's zombies here, then there's zombies there, but so they go straight instead of like the other way.
Yeah, or just running through the zombies because they're really strong, but they're slow as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, that's in keeping with tradition. They are very slow.
And I think this is where you get the idea that radiation machine is waking the dead.
But also keeping a tradition where they trap themselves to build suspense in a movie, I guess.
Yeah. There's like, you know, they barricade themselves inside in like a tiny little Night of the Living Dead style scene, and when the cop decides he has to make a break for his radio, and they throw a fucking headstone at him.
Oh yeah.
The back of his
Yeah,
leg.
clips
and
in the back of the leg, and then they gut munch him. Lots of
Yeah,
gut
that-
munching.
Yeah, really awesome gore scene.
And then that's when George discovers how to deal with the zombies. Is with, you know, it's how you deal with any nightmare creature. You burn it,
Yep.
fire it.
But yeah, during that scene where the cop's getting devoured, there is that continuity error that I brought up to you earlier with the female zombie like digging in and like having like a handful of flesh, and she goes to put it to her mouth, and then right before it goes to her mouth, it cuts to a further back scene, and she's back to her hand inside the body, and so it's like they just kind of cut it wrong. It looks like.
So Edna decides that she's gonna go back to Martin and Luke, Katie's farmhouse. I don't know why she thinks that that's the safe. Why wouldn't you just fucking leave?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah,
leave
get the
at
hell
this
out of
point.
there.
Get the fuck out, you know. But no, she goes back to Martin and Katie's farmhouse where it was Martin Zombie, who had resuscitated at the morgue at that point and killed the morgue attendant. He goes back to his own house, and George goes to destroy the radiation machine, which he does. But it's too late because the machine's range has been increased and Martin has been, you know, reanimated. So too little, too late. The police stumble upon the cemetery massacre, and Edna is attacked by Martin at their house, the Martin and Katie house, and she escapes and hits him with the car and leaves his crumpled body there. And this is where George and Edna are finally reunited. And George promptly leaves her at a gas station with a woman and a little mongoloid girl.
Forgot about that.
Tells them to call for help, and he goes back to the farmhouse where she says that Martin is, because at this point he thinks that he's disposed of all the zombies and destroyed the machine and everything's hunky-dory, but now he knows that Martin Zombie's a thing, so he goes back to the farmhouse to dispose of Martin, and naturally the cops are waiting for him. The radiation machine is back up and running very quickly thereafter. Martin is taken back to the hospital, and he reanimates again, kills the morgue attendant, and reanimates a bunch of other corpses that are in the morgue.
In the meantime, the dickhead detective still thinks it's George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he every time he shows up, he always sees his dead corpses. And then he has that line, and he's like, I wish I could get me hands on them. Some fucking leprechaun.
on him. George escapes from the cop by throwing like a towel in the cop's face and jumping out the
Yep.
window. And just like stealing a cop car.
Very ninja-esque moves out the
Yeah.
window down the fire
It's all
escape.
Forgot
kinds
about
of, he's
that
very
scene.
parkour about it.
Hardcore parkour.
Hardcore parkour. And he goes back to the gas station for Edna, who ironically has been taken to hospital. So George calls to warn the doctor